The following program, offered by Fox 19, includes lawyers licensed in Kentucky. For those lawyers to maintain compliance with the Kentucky Bar Association requirements, the phrase, "This is an advertisement," must appear on the screen. Moore Law is underwritten in the public interest by the Moore Law Firm, a legal professional association. This is Moore Law on Fox 19.
Welcome to Moore Law. Each week we discuss a different legal topic and take your legal questions live on the air. Today we're talking about elder law. As you and your loved ones get older, you might have questions about estate planning, wills and trusts, Medicare, nursing homes, and powers of attorney. There are a lot of questions. If you have one about any area of elder law, give us a call at 513-421-4691. We'll be taking your questions live. Now we want to start by showing you what will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. On October 15th, we have All About Injuries. October 22nd, Landlords versus Tenants. And on October 29th, Medicine and the Law. Again, though, today we'll be talking about elder law. Joining me today, this is a special treat. Dan Moore, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Deb. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, thank you. And your weekend?
It was great. I see you have red on.
That is by design, yes.
The reds are great, aren't they?
It's been so fun. I mean, I haven't gotten a lot of sleep staying up late, but it's been fun to watch.
Me neither. I've shorted myself, but it has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy their offensive production the last couple
Well, I'm
games.
looking forward to the sweep tomorrow.
I sure hope that happens.
And you wanted to introduce our
Yeah, I
guest?
do. We have Dennis and Keller with us this morning. Dennis, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Deb, for having me.
Nice to see you again.
You as well.
And you practice in elder law, don't you?
I do.
And so you're going to be here with us this morning. We're excited to help some people out with some of these difficult questions when it comes to those areas of their life that they really don't want to have to deal with, but really need to.
It can be a complex, almost Byzantine type system. So if we can answer some questions and help folks get a path, all the better.
Well, let's start off then by talking about, what is elder law? I mean, you specialize in that. Let's talk about, the kinds of things we can cover.
Well, elder law is a kind of a broad topic. We're members of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, and they've got this long, complex definition of what elder law is. But the bottom line is, the folks that you serve, your clients, that's defined what elder law is, and most of our clients happen to be seniors or knocking on the door of 65. And there's an estate planning component of it, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, as you were mentioned, but the main difference is, versus just generic estate planning, is that estate planning kind of tends to deal with end of life, where your assets go at the end of your life. Elder law really sort of focuses on what to do and how to protect your assets if you're staring down the barrel of a long-term care stay, be it assisted living, nursing home, having to stay at home due to health concerns. The problem is so many folks plan for the opposite ends of the bridges, as we say. They plan for retirement planning. Almost everybody has a 401k, almost everybody has some sort of IRA, some sort of nest egg there, and almost everybody has a will or trust or some sort of end-of-life document to distribute those assets. Most people do not have any sort of planning in place for the span of the bridge, what happens in between. And what happens in between is a catastrophic health event or just the product of aging that sucks away everything that you worked so diligently for on the first end of the bridge, and so there's nothing left by the time you get to the end of life. So that's what we try to do and prevent and help families save those assets they spend a lifetime building.
One of the issues that I get questions about all the time, and frankly sometimes I have questions about myself, is when does Medicaid have or play a role with somebody who's trying to be responsible about planning for some of these catastrophic things that happen?
Sure. A lot of people don't realize that once you go into a nursing home, Medicare is not going to offer a whole lot of help. Okay? Almost all seniors have Medicare for their primary insurance. The problem is, if you go into a nursing home stay, the most Medicare is going to pay for is the first 20 days of your stay, and that's if you're in the hospital for 3 days beforehand, and then maybe an additional 80 days after that at 80%. After that, you're sort of on your own. And the predicament that a lot of folks get into is, most of our clients are in a situation where they're kind of, again, in the middle of the span. It's kind of a bipolar system. I mean, the folks on this end, who don't have any assets, they're going to be just fine because the government's going to take care of them. The folks who are on this end are going to be just fine because they're wealthy and they can afford whatever care that they need. It's everybody in the middle, right? It's the folks who have a house that they purchased in 1952 for $17,000 and a couple $100,000 in the bank as a nest egg. And now they're looking at having to pay $8,000 to $10,000 a month for nursing home care, and that's about the average price it is here in Cincinnati, is anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a month. So you can see a year stay, 2-year stay, and that's the average length of time in a nursing home is 2 years. That nest egg is going to be gone unless you do some sort of planning, and that's when folks start to look to Medicaid a lot of times.
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right, let's head to the phones now. Let's see. First, we'll start off with Lynette in Cincinnati. Good morning, Lynette.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm calling about my mother. She's in a nursing home. I went in over the weekend, and I found her laying in urine and feces, and I made her nurse aware, and she went to make her aides aware of it, and I was totally ignored for over half an hour, and I decided to make it a police matter, and they came in, and they took a report from me, and they made a report, and the DON, she came in after the police left, and she came in my mother's room, and she shut the door, and she told me if I ever made this a police matter or if I continued to do this, that she would put my mother out of the facility.
Okay. Well, there is a patient's Bill of Rights, and it's a 32-point list of rights that you have that the Ohio Revised Code protects patients in these types of situations. And of course, one of those rights is to be able to live in a clean, safe, nurturing environment. And if you have a problem, a lot of times the first place to go maybe isn't the police, but there is an ombudsman. And that usually is the person that you would call first, and their job is making sure that the nursing homes are staying on top of their toes and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's usually the first rung of approach, and oftentimes families have a good deal of success with that. In terms of the police action, every quarter you're supposed to have a care conference in a facility where the director of nursing or the social worker gets in with the family, and they're supposed to review the care plan. If things are going haywire, in between these care conferences, you have the right to ask for another one and make sure that your loved one is getting the care that you expect and that they deserve.
It is a difficult situation because you can't be there at the nursing home 24/7. You really depend on the people who are working there.
Right, and that's absolutely true. However, we always tell people, the folks who have the most active advocates, the families who go and visit on a routine basis, and it's not always at the same time. They drop in on the weekends, they drop in on the nights. Those invariably are the families and those are the residents who get the best care. Because if you have somebody who's there advocating for you all the time, then it's only natural that the facility is going to respond to you as opposed to somebody who never gets anybody in to visit with them.
Well, and one of the other things that I see sometimes is a person's relationship with the nursing home just disintegrates over time. And when that happens, sometimes the best thing to do is find a new nursing home, if possible. Sometimes you can't do that, but sometimes it's best to have a clean start and start the process that you just described.
It can be. One of the things that we do things on what's called a life care planning model. And that means, a big component of what we do is again, protecting assets, but we never want to protect assets at the expense of quality of life, quality of care. And so we have a couple nurses who are on our staff. We have elder care coordinators, one's a dementia expert, and we'll go to those care conferences with folks. Now, we don't litigate. We don't, sue nursing homes. We don't do medical malpractice. The idea is that we're trying to advocate for the residents with the facilities in a constructive manner, because, the facilities have a very, very difficult job. If they employed as many people as they truly needed to provide complete comprehensive care and be at the residents every call, then they would all go broke because you just can't do that. It's a very, very difficult job, and so inevitably some folks are going to slip through the cracks and not get the care that they need sometimes, and that's what happened with the caller that we just heard. So again, the more people you have on your team, the better your outcome is going to be.
Okay, great. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. Give us a call. We're talking about elder law, 513-421-4691.